You know, when we look at a map of the world, it feels permanent, right? Like it's always been this way. But it's not. It's really just a snapshot in time. Today, we're going to flip through the Earth's family album and tell the story of a lost world, a single massive continent that once held all of ours together. Seriously, just think about that for a second. No Atlantic Ocean separating the Americas from Europe and Africa. You could literally walk from modern-day New York to Morocco. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, doesn't it? Well, for about 150 million years, that was the reality here on Earth. This supercontinent was called Pangea, which is Greek for all Earth. So let's dive into this incredible story of how we even found out it existed, what it was like to live there, and, spoiler alert, how it was eventually torn apart. Okay, so our story really kicks off in 1912 with a German meteorologist, of all people, named Alfred Wegener. He was just looking at a world map and couldn't shake this one simple idea. The continents, well, they look like they fit together, like puzzle pieces. He came up with this radical theory he called continental drift. But to prove it, he had to become a kind of geological detective, hunting for clues all over the globe. So where did he find his first big clue? In fossils. Specifically, fossils of this guy, Lystrosaurus, a land reptile. They were finding identical fossils of this creature in Africa, India, and even Antarctica. Now, this animal absolutely could not swim across an ocean, so the only explanation that made any sense was that these places must have been connected. The next clue was, well, it was literally written in the rocks. The Appalachian Mountains over in North America, it turns out they have the exact same rock type and age as the Caledonian Mountains way over in Scotland. And here's the cool part. When you push the continents back together on a map, those two mountain ranges line up perfectly. They form one single ancient mountain chain. It's like taping a torn picture back together.
And the final piece of the puzzle, the real smoking gun, was a kind of climactic fingerprint. Geologists found these deep scratches in solid bedrock in places like India and Africa, places that are incredibly hot today. But these marks could only have been made by giant grinding glaciers. It was proof positive that these now tropical lands were once huddled together near the South Pole, buried under miles of ice.
So, with all this evidence piling up, the next question was obvious. How did this supercontinent even get built? Well, Pangea wasn't born overnight. It was forged over 150 million years of unimaginably slow, incredibly violent collisions as the Earth's tectonic plates just smashed into each other. It all happened in stages. First, the two biggest continents at the time, Gondwana and Euramerica, started crashing together. Then other big pieces, like Siberia, smashed into this growing landmass, pushing up huge mountain ranges like the Urals in the process. By the early Permian period, pretty much all the continental crust was stitched together into one colossal C-shaped continent that stretched nearly from pole to pole. Okay, so try to picture this world. What would it actually be like to stand on Pangea? With all the land crammed together on one side of the planet, the result was a climate of just unbelievable extremes. We're talking a world of brutal, baking heat and storms of an epic scale. See, on one side of the globe, you had Pangea, and on the other, you had this, Panthalassa, the All-Sea, a single planet-spanning ocean that acted as the engine for the entire world's weather system. All the moisture, every single storm started right here. This setup created a world of shocking contrasts. Because Pangea was so massive, its interior was a gigantic desert, thousands of miles from any ocean. Rain clouds that formed over Panthalassa just couldn't make it that far inland. But the coastlines, they had the opposite problem. They were battered by mega-monsoons, seasonal storms on a scale we can barely imagine today that would just drench the land in torrential rain. Now, for the animals and plants living at the time, this connected world was basically one giant biological highway. With no major oceans in the way, a creature could, in theory, walk from the South Pole all the way to the North Pole. This opened up a really unique chapter in the story of evolution. And way before the dinosaurs came along, the real rulers of Pangea were these incredible creatures called synapsids. They were mammal-like reptiles. You've probably seen pictures of one of the most famous ones, the sail-backed Dimetrodon. These guys were everywhere, thriving across this unified world. But this world was about to face an absolute catastrophe. Pangea became the stage for what was, without a doubt, the single worst day in the history of life on Earth. An event so bad we call it the Great Dying. It was all kicked off by massive, long-lasting volcanic eruptions in what's now Siberia, which just choked the atmosphere with catastrophic amounts of CO2. The scale of this extinction it's just hard to wrap your head around. 96% of all species in the oceans, gone. On land, about 70% of all vertebrate life got wiped out. Life on this planet came terrifyingly close to being snuffed out completely. But out of the ashes of the Great Dying, new life started to emerge. That extinction event basically wiped the evolutionary slate clean, which created a huge opportunity for the survivors. And who were among those survivors? You guessed it, the very first dinosaurs. They evolved in the southern part of Pangea, and with no oceans to stop them, they just exploded across the entire supercontinent with incredible speed. And here is the great irony in the story of Pangea. The very same planetary heat from the Earth's mantle that pushed the continents together in the first place, that's what would eventually tear it all apart. The supercontinent acted like a giant insulating blanket, trapping heat underneath it until the crust started to bulge, crack, and finally break. The breakup wasn't one single event. It was more like a 130 million year-long divorce. First, a huge rift tore open between North America and Africa, and that's what created the baby North Atlantic Ocean. Next, the southern half, Gondwana, started to fragment, kind of unzipping South America from Africa. The last major split happened much, much later, when Australia finally peeled away from Antarctica. And just like that, the world map we know today started to take shape. But here's the thing, Pangea isn't just some dusty old chapter in a geology textbook. Its life and its death have left echoes that directly impact our world today, our economy, our lives, in ways that might really surprise you. Take coal, for example. A huge amount of the world's coal deposits, from the ones in Pennsylvania all the way to China, are just the fossilized remains of the massive, lush swamps that grew while Pangea was being stitched together. And it's the same story with oil. As the continent started to rip apart, these deep valleys called rift basins formed between them. These basins became the perfect spots to trap tons of organic material, which, over millions of years, got cooked by heat and pressure into the huge offshore oil reserves we tap into today. And finally, its legacy is in life itself. Ever wonder why Australia has such weird and wonderful animals like kangaroos and koalas? It's because when Australia broke off, it became an isolated evolutionary laboratory. Its marsupials evolved completely separately from the placental mammals on other continents, creating this incredible, unique branch on the tree of life. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that our planet isn't static. It's a living, breathing system. The story of Pangea isn't over. It's just one chapter in this huge, ongoing geological cycle of continents coming together and then breaking apart, all of it driven by the incredible heat that's still churning deep inside the Earth. Which, of course, leaves us with one last fantastic question. Geologists are pretty certain the continents will merge again, way, way off in the future. The cycle continues. Some have even given this future world names, like Pangea Ultima or Amasya. So as we look at our world map today, maybe the real question isn't just what it looks like now, but what it's on its way to becoming next.